We are back. Oakland Sports, past, present, and future. I'm Ralph Tyko with the Comfortably Zoned Radio Network. The co-hosts are Nancy Finley and Jerry Feitelberg, both present and accounted for. Ladies first, hello, Nancy.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm fine. It's
good.
It's turning out to be
good,
a really
indeed.
good week.
Jerry, what is?
It's a great day, Ralph. It's a beautiful day out here in Alameda, and just happy to be with you again.
Happy to be with you.
Like?
You know that we are neighbors, and we have not. We're going to get together and have a cup of coffee and discuss this in person. What part of Alameda do you live?
I'm out in the Harbor Bay Isle.
Oh. My
Nancy was Harbor Bay Isle tenant, buyer. Did you have a house out there, Nancy?
Both. Yes, and I lived there with Dad.
Oh, really?
Yes. We
wow.
After I married young, I really wanted back with my dad. I couldn't stand living without him, so I said, let's all move in together.
Huh.
And
nice.
It worked out. Dad was with the A's, and as Jerry knows, it's a great commute to the Coliseum.
Right. On a bad day, it takes 15 minutes.
I know. So wonderful. And then at the same time, I was going to USF. So Dad, when the team was out of town, Dad got to spend a lot of time with my son, babysitting for me. And Harbor Bay Isle had everything. There was a little daycare school.
There's a great library. There's a little park with tennis courts right around the Safeway.
Yeah, that's right where I live. Right in that area.
I rented out there for a while. I rented a room when I was between motorhomes and camper vans, how I've spent the majority of the last 25 years avoiding that little thing like rent and taxes and what have you. But those were days of yesteryear. I'm on Lincoln, pretty close to Webster.
Okay, so you're on the other end of town, but that's fine.
Right.
There's a nice coffee shop over there too.
When I met Morgan, he rented an old Victorian on Clinton Street, which is near back over where you are, Ralph, in that location. Yeah, right in the middle.
Yeah.
A friend of mine owned a theater there. Is the theater still there?
Well, the theater went the way of it all. It was a very unique, comfortable little theater where you'd sit on lounge chairs and couches, rather, not lounge chairs. Is that the one you're referring to?
It was there right at the beach, right on the beach.
Yeah. Well,
it's not anymore.
Long time ago.
Oh, that's too bad.
You know what I want to reminisce? We're all from this area. The Warriors, not the current Warriors, but the Warriors in 1975.
Oh, yeah.
Jerry, you were here in Alameda. It was Al Addle's team, and it was Al Addle's and Rick Barry.
I remember.
A cast of 12 guys that played every day. You have any memories of the Warriors? Those Warriors with Bill Bridges and Mullen and all those guys.
I was living in Los Angeles in the 70s.
You weren't.
I lived in Los Angeles from 1967 till the end of 1979.
You missed the fun.
You did miss the fun, but you had Chick Hearn with the Lakers.
Oh, I had wonderful Chick Hearn, and I did go to several of the Laker games against the New York Knicks in 1970 and whenever the Knicks won the championship, 70 and 73, I think. And it was really interesting. I was working in a pharmacy in Santa Monica, and we had a young clerk, but he was a friend of the secretary of Fred Schaus, who was the general manager of the Lakers at the time, and she would get us in. She said, I don't know where you're going to sit, but you're going to go in and you can see the playoffs, and we got to see the finals. And it cost me, I think, $5 to get in. How about that?
It was great.
Well, how about this? Fred Schaus was Jerry West's coach,
right?
At West Virginia,
right.
And they kind of came up together.
We had in the
from
70s,
Cabin Creek.
We had all these winners, right, Ralph? I mean, we had the Warriors, the Raiders, and then us, just all at once.
That's right.
It was a great time for Oakland sports in those days.
I know.
It really had.
How did it go downhill to the point where the Raiders and the Warriors are virtually gone? It's still uncertain whether or not this stadium thing is going to. I think it's certain that they're going to stay, but I don't think the stadium site isn't very peaceful. It's been a rough week in terms of opposition coming out and what have you. But my point is, how did it go this bad, and why is it that the city fathers are all so anti-sports?
Well, I know our end of it, but Jerry, you mentioned last time about Davis not really wanting to go to L.A., and you just summed it up. If you want to repeat that, you mentioned how he was bluffing, and I know that Davis was also trying to was aggressive and trying to get what he wanted, and he didn't get what he wanted, so he moved just to show he would if he threatened it. I know that.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. What happened was the football stadium held 51,000 people, which was fine. But Davis saw that there was going to be an escalation in costs for players, and he needed a bigger stadium so that he could compete with the other owners in the NFL. And that was the thrust of his motive, was to get a bigger stadium here in Oakland. And as I told you, that phone call between Pete Rozelle and Lionel Wilson, where Rozelle said, we have the votes, you don't have to do a thing, they can't move. And they needed 75% of the owners to approve the move, and Rozelle had them voting against Davis. And with the noted antitrust attorney, Joe Alioto, they got that. They beat them. They were able to move the club to L.A. They got $18 million from the NFL. And Joe told me many times he sued the NFL 5 times and won all 5 times. They were easy pickings for him.
That is true. And I remember when he told us we should sue, we should follow his advice, and we did not. And our thing was with the Coliseum board, which might be what Davis was going up against. Also Bowie Kuhn. But with us, they never finished the Coliseum completely. From the outside, it appeared finished, but on the inside, we had subflooring. And we thought that after 3 World Series that they would finally come in and do that. And they didn't. It was as if they kept thinking we would just do it. And that they promised to get it done. It was fresh in our minds. And that's really what caused a lot of the tension. And then it felt like we weren't really appreciated by the area. We thought they could have done more to do something instead of us having to think up our own ideas or maybe a parade. Maybe they should have something in our honor. So we tried to move, and Oakland and Alameda County, that's another reason we could go to Alameda, but they would bring something up, you can't move because of A, B, and C in the contract. It's similar. It's similar, except we just were not litigious, which is interesting. I don't think a lot of people realize that about Finley. But maybe because he was in insurance. I don't know. But
I don't know, but you brought up an interesting point. And I was living in L.A. when the A's won the 3 World Championships in 72, 73, and 74. And because I was living in L.A. in 74, I was kind of rooting for the guys in blue, the Dodgers, to take you. But, you know, the A's won it 4 games to 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was something.
Yes.
Right.
And it would have been another one if free agency hadn't come in.
Oh, I know. We were still on a roll. Yeah. Oh, my
75,
God.
you were in the playoffs against the Red Sox, and the Red Sox won it that year. And you were in the playoffs for 5 years in a row because people forget you were in the playoffs in 71 as well.
I know. I never know how to explain that because they're different. You know, playoff World Series, we lost the playoffs, but still, we sandwiched. It was a sandwich.
Right, you sandwich it with that 3 in a row, and it really goes down as the greatest baseball dynasty since the 49 to 53
the Yankees,
New York
49 to 53.
We're so similar to New York.
Championships in a row.
Yeah, we're similar. We're very, and I remember a lot of Dad's friends were former Yankees. It's just interesting.
Yeah, it is.
That is interesting.
I know.
You brought up another interesting point, Nancy, and that was that the city did not have a parade for the A's after they won the World Championships in 72.
Well, that was that was more our thing or our, you know, idea. We put it together. I don't. The city would say, "Oh, we were behind it. We opened the streets," but it wasn't something that they said, "Let's do for you." So that's what I meant, because it seemed like it was something we were planning, and the city they had to cordon off the streets and provide police protection and all that, but it wasn't.
The garbage, the pickup, and what have you. It is expensive,
right?
But do you know how much money a major league franchise brings into the city?
Yes.
Restaurants, hotels, taxes from all that.
It spills over to Alameda.
And jobs, and all the jobs for the people that work at the ballpark.
But I
cannot imagine, and if you just jog your memory, in 2004 and then in 2016 in Boston and Chicago, there was no question that there'd be a parade, that the cities would not participate in Boston and Chicago with having a parade. And in Boston, they had something like 4 million people at that parade.
Oh, I know.
Sox won in Chicago, too. And I talked to Peter Gammons down in spring training in 2005. He said it was the most magnificent thing he'd ever seen. He never believed in his lifetime that he would see a parade in Boston like that.
Now, the city must have been behind it with anything they could do, right?
Absolutely.
Oh,
Absolutely.
yes.
It features the city, and that's what the parade would do. It would bring, and when you have the name Oakland on your shirt, every time you say we're playing the Oakland A's or the Oakland Raiders, unfortunately not the Oakland Warriors, but it's the Golden State Warriors, you bring attention to the city of Oakland, and it's advertised.
No question.
And it's the best time.
How about this? The pride of a city. When I go back, I'm an old guy, I go back to when the Dodgers and Giants left New York, especially Brooklyn, affected by it. The spirit of a community affected when a team leaves.
What was that like?
Let alone the money that they bring in with taxes and what have you. It really kills the spirit of a community, and I don't see it boding well. Were it not for this incredible housing crunch, which in California, which seems to have followed to Oakland. In other words, it's not that less expensive in Oakland than it is in San Francisco. So were it not for that, the city itself, Oakland itself, would really be hurting.
Yep.
I can't understate the importance of major league franchises, not just baseball, any sport. What it does to when you think of Oakland now, you'll be thinking of, well, this is a team that had their shot at prominence with the Raiders twice. They let them get away. What do you think that the city could have done to keep the Raiders, Jerry?
I think when the first time they could have told.
No, the first time was self-evident. Al Davis has ruled the roost. Whatever Al Davis wants. Remember, he was the commissioner of the American Football League during the merger. Al Davis just was the absolute brains behind it all, and the combination of him and Joe Alioto getting together, wow, they just played the NFL like a redheaded stepchild. I mean, they just what can I tell you? But the second time, Al's been gone like 5-6 years. I don't know much about Mark. I think he was sincere at the beginning in saying that his goal was to stay here.
I think he's being surrounded by a lot of people telling him which way he should go. He's probably secure now, but I have that feeling.
The new thing in the NFL and one of the factors in all the new stadiums that's being built is the amount of money that they're generating in the NFL, and I think if Oakland were just on even footing with Nevada and Las Vegas, they would have they had a chance to stay in town. However, when Sheldon Adelson came in and with that $650 million and wanted to move the Raiders to Las Vegas. And of course and then he wanted part ownership, and of course Mark Davis wasn't willing to give him that. When they went to the legislature and they got $750 million from the state of Nevada, there's no way Oakland could have met that challenge. They just couldn't. They don't have the money for schools. They have other needs. They have other stuff to take care of. And how would it look if the city of Oakland said, well, we're going to take bonds out for $750 million to keep the Raiders?
Well, that would have had to come from all over Northern California, really, not just, Wow.
But the citizens wouldn't stand for it.
They put out enough when they got him back.
Yeah. Well, if they got it back.
Well, when they came back,
they're still paying for Mount Davis now. They're still
on the hook. Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, when now with us, it was so different because in 1979, right, the year you came back, Jerry, I don't know if you know this, but in '79, as the team was starting that summer, Dad was served with a lawsuit since he was the one on site by the County of Alameda, City of Oakland, and Coliseum Board. And basically it said that we weren't selling enough yearbooks, we weren't marketing enough, we didn't have enough cars out there and spaces, and our players were not up to MLB
standards?
Standards. So it was really a crazy. The accusations or causes of action were really unique, and we were thinking, how can they know our players aren't up to those standards? How can they even judge that? So we knew Bowie Kuhn had to be behind it because it was filed in federal court, not state court, and within 4 months, a judge tossed it out. It was considered frivolous. But
it's ludicrous because baseball teams go through cycles.
Exactly.
You have good years and you have bad years.
Exactly.
And the players are old and the new players aren't as good, and it's just happened to be in that period of time in the transition from the great teams. And then when you hired Billy Martin and he came back and the team did well.
Interesting. Dad hired Billy at the end of '79 at the winter meeting. He managed to get Billy. But and I think that suit had to do with it because it made him mad. But we were in second place in '76. We remained in second place, and I thought, wow, we must have been really good because so much was going on with us then. That
maintained.
I mean,
hey, Nancy, let me interrupt, Nancy and Jerry. What precipitated? And I found that picture with Bowie Kuhn and Jack Benny.
What a
it is. I am planning to frame it. It's a wonderful picture. Jack Benny threw out, for those who hadn't heard it, Jack Benny threw out the first pitch in Game 6 of the '73 World Series, the only World Series I've ever attended in my life.
I don't think he even said hi.
I came away heartbroken. I knew the A's were going to beat my Mets the next day. But that notwithstanding, the picture, the question revolves around the picture of Bowie Kuhn in it, and standing kind of next to your dad, but looking in a different direction.
He's in his own world.
Your uncle. It was Charlie. Yeah. But my question is, what precipitated their hatred? I mean, this was a combination made in hell.
I know. Well, apparently.
What was the initial argument? What got it going to the point where Charlie called Bowie Kuhn the village idiot?
Well, remember, he avoided the trades in '76.
But
the Yankees and Red Sox when Charlie
and that was
started before that.
Boy, and the Dick Williams, wanting to manage the Yankees.
Well, think about it. It started in the late '60s, about '69, '70, from what I hear. Where it just started, where Kuhn just did not like the look of Charlie, and he would just have that sick look when Charlie started giving ideas at the meetings. Dad said that Charlie ignored it and just kept talking, but Kuhn would make these like you're talking down to someone. He condescending. He would talk that way. So Charlie ignored that. It's what came through was when Kuhn said we shouldn't have moved to Oakland. It's a bad move. Okay. Then in '72, when we gave some players bonuses, and Kuhn made the players give them back. That
wasn't in the contract.
But it seemed so anal or tentative. You can't do that. And we had won the World Series.
Sure.
So that's when we knew, we could tell something was wrong here. He doesn't like us. And he would, it started with little things, but it started going up, and in his bio, he calls Charlie a bastard. So I can say Charlie never talked about him and never just said he didn't like him in the beginning. It was something where it felt like Kuhn was throwing daggers at us, and we just had to avoid them as much as possible. And I can understand Charlie calling him the village idiot. He would not see what with the ideas proposed. Then he took credit for them later.
We were talking about Charlie last night at dinner. I had Amaury P. Gonzalez with dinner and Joe Salvatore from KCBS, and the official scorer last night was Arturo Santo Domingo. And we were talking about Charlie and all the innovations that he had.
Oh,
and and the one I would have liked is to have the orange baseball so that you could see it when it flies into the stadium instead of the little light bulb. But
that's on the cover of my book.
Absolutely. That was the time when tennis was really taking off with Billie Jean and what have you. The orange ball was a necessity. Tennis went from white. Hey, let me interrupt. The most interesting man in the world has just joined in baseball. Has just joined us.
I see his commercial all the time.
Lenny Randall. Lenny, how are you? I'm on the A's show. I'd like to introduce you to Nancy Finley, who is the daughter of Carl Finley, Charlie's brother-like cousin, and she's the niece of Charlie Finley, and Jerry Feitelberg, my co-host on this, the Oakland Sports Past, Present, and Future. Mr. Lenny Randall, how are you, sir?
Thank you. Madam, I know you're probably in awe of this introduction from this. Now, I feel like Ed McMahon or Johnny Carson coming on as somebody, Well,
Lenny Randall has been written
you.
by our mutual friend Dan Feinstein for Rolling Stones and dubbed that the most interesting man in baseball. Lenny, real quick, how do you think you came to be named that title?
Well, I'm on the phone with Artie Clear, who's the first baseman of Miami. His dad and his uncle, Zamora, you remember the pitcher with the Cubs? Zamora was a relief who had a great sense of humor. Oscar, we always did unusual things. We weren't your typical in a square box kind of player. Probably like your guest host right now. She's not typical. But when you don't do typical stuff, you become, I guess, unique, different, odd, from
that one.
Creative, Andy Warholish, or weird, depending on who's judged. But you just do things fun to keep the team loose. I always did interesting things that I didn't know they were interesting. I just did it off the fly. It wasn't rehearsed. Just did things to make our team win or make it loose or make it fun to keep the peace. I wish I could jump in the NFL right now and bring peace.
Okay, before you got on, Lenny, we were talking about orange baseballs and Charlie's innovation that didn't make it.
Yeah.
What do you think of orange baseballs? Would that been a good idea?
Ralph, could I make a comment?
I think it's great.
Yes, Jerry.
Please.
Go ahead.
At last night's game, you know that Bruce Maxwell was the first player to take a knee at for the national anthem in baseball, and he did that again last night. However, what was really interesting was the national anthem was being played by the Oakland Unified Marching Band, and when the conductor took up his baton, about 90% of the band kneeled, and they played the anthem from the kneeling position. It was something to see. It was unbelievable. The support. And
I call that getting down in my neighborhood. We just call it getting down. If you know how to get down, like Cool in the Gang, you got to get down. Sometimes you got to James Brown. You got to just get down.
I like that song by Cool in the Gang. Okay, Jerry.
Yeah, it was really terrific, and it was on the lead story on the news last night. I don't know if it made the national news, but it was on the local news last night.
Yeah, I saw it on the local.
And the band was made up of white kids, Asian kids, and African American kids, and it was something to see.
Can I ask why doesn't sports just stop playing the war song? And,
so that's a good question, Ralph. That's a very good question. As you know, it never was played before the start of the game. They started doing it during wartime, during World War II, and I think maybe during the Korean War, and it just caught on. It was not necessary. When I was a kid, I don't remember the national anthem being played at all in the late 40s, early 50s. Maybe when we went into Korea, they started playing it again, but it's become a tradition. and
I
it does not
been
have to
proposed.
be played.
Yeah,
Chris cleared.
I just
there's a gentleman in Florida.
It would solve everything if they just suspended playing the song and do everything else. You could play Here Comes the Sun, for Christ's sake.
How about Oh Beautiful or Cool in the Gang, It's a Celebration?
That's
right. Or We Are Family.
Queen.
How about that?
Oh, We Are Family, yeah.
You know what? I want to tell you one quick thing about Bowie Kuhn and the orange ball in spring training. When we were trying out the orange ball and Kuhn was there, he walked over to our broadcaster intern and he said, I understand what you're going through, because we had asked him to say the orange ball is being tried out today, folks. Kuhn walked over as if it was bad.
Well, some people are not creative. You know, they just can't see the future. Finley was a genius. George Steinerbritter was a genius. We have owners that are out. Yeah, I'm sorry.
With Kuhn, you had
outside the box.
In the line. Oh, my gosh. And that was the problem, because they were asking, Jerry and Ralph were asking where it started between Kuhn and Charlie. It was one of those things, they just rubbed each other wrong, and I think Kuhn was out for a fight. Charlie was defending. I
have a gentleman online right now named Chris Cabrera. He's a baseball player, first base with Florida. He's in Florida. Chris, hello. Say hello to everybody so they'll know you do. And he survived the hurricane. Now, if you guys had a baseball right now in Florida, orange or yellow, would you guys deal with that or not?
I mean, I've never done anything like that, but I'd be open to giving it a try. I don't see why not.
Thank you.
Can't hurt.
That's right.
Yeah,
exactly.
Can't hurt.
It'd be easier for the fans to, when the ball is hit out of the park, to pick it up on the flight.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of.
That's a good point.
People may not get hit in the face as often.
Could be.
Well,
that's another selling point for it. I remember when we proposed that orange ball. Oh my gosh, the owners.
I had two teammates, madam, that Reggie Jackson and Sal Bando and Joe Rudy. They're from Arizona State, and they loved it. Billy Norton. They're your friends.
Well, no,
those are my teammates.
When I was little, I was raised inside the A's, and when I was Green's first wife babysat me.
That was fun. I'm surprised MC Hammer didn't babysit you. Everybody was in that clubhouse.
Okay, Hammer was my age, and I remember Hammer sitting by my dad all the time. All of a sudden he appeared.
Yeah.
I was a little jealous. I'm an only child, and Dad was raising me alone. And so I would always sit on the other side, and I was thinking, who is this person taking my dad's attention?
Well, all you had to do is get up and do a funky dance, and then your dad would have came back.
For those of you who didn't know, your dad and Hammer really, when in Charlie's absence, he was back in Chicago. Am I correct?
Oh, most of the time.
Yeah.
Most of the time. They basically ran the A's.
Yes.
Exactly.
Hammer was accused of going into the clubhouse and reporting stuff.
That was his job. But that was his job. I couldn't go into the clubhouse while they were dressing. So Hammer could.
Well, there's a difference between going into the clubhouse and being of help and sending that players were talking about. But that's another story. Hammer goes on to an incredible career as a rapper.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever he's interviewed, he always talks about the most fun he had in life was working for the A's. So there must have been.
That was exciting.
I have pictures of him. Yeah.
By the way, did anyone get his bobblehead? They had one for him last year.
You know what?
Oh, no.
I did.
I can't have bobbleheads. I don't want bobbleheads of people I actually know, because it's a little freaky to see the head like that.
Yeah, that's a good.
I was at a Super Bowl with him, and he was passing them out in Arizona.
Yeah.
He's very proud.
This is a voodoo doll.
It's not like a Twilight Zone doll. No.
Well, They were just dancing. You know, he had a little music to go with it too. He's creative.
Let's talk to your guest about the hurricane and the devastation and his experiences, because this is
Chris Cabrera.
Rich Cabrera.
Chris.
No. Chris Cabrera, Florida. So, go ahead. Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, I mean.
Okay, Chris.
Well, I'm in Miami, and we didn't get hit too hard by the hurricane. It was pretty bad. Our field took a pretty hard hit. Our fence got knocked down, but, electricity was gone for about a week. But, we're already back, and our field is back in shape.
That's great.
Miami's being cleaned up. A lot of damage was done, but, everybody was prepared, so that's a good thing.
Yeah.
And,
good. Good.
Yeah.
I
Chris,
do
how
have
did it
a lot
come
of
to be
teammates.
that you're playing at Miami? What was your where did you go to high school, or who mentored you?
I went to Matter Academy for high school, and then after that I played at a junior college for 2 years at Broward College in Fort Lauderdale.
Mm-hmm.
And now
who was
I'm
the
at
coach there?
University.
Who was the coach there? Give him some credit.
Oh, Ben Bezier. He's unbelievable.
Tell me about him.
Nobody has helped my baseball career as much as he has. He was on and off the field. He very demanding in the classroom, and what I loved about him is that he treated us like men. He didn't put up with a lot of stuff, but he was very fair, and I learned so much about playing the game, the right way to play it, and I really like him a lot. He's unbelievable.
Guys, this is a future Oakland A you're talking to.
How did you, Chris? How were you acquainted with the most interesting man in baseball, Lenny? How did you?
My dad, and my cousin. I believe my cousin Oscar Zamora played with him on the Cubs, and my dad lived in Chicago at that time, and they got acquainted, and he reached out to me, and been in contact for about some years now.
Very cool. Very cool.
Nice. Yeah.
You are
This
absolutely, and I can hear the influence in your voice. You're incredibly articulate, and really cool having you on. We're going to follow your career.
Yes.
Thank you for having me on.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Lenny, anything you got going today? You've been across the country. We've been talking every day, Lenny. Listening audiences.
I want to talk to Lenny
Finley
more.
and Jerry Feitelberg. Lenny and I have been talking. You've gone from Arizona to Texas, and you're doing these camps. Now you're in Florida. My God, Lenny, you are.
What are the camps?
How do you get there? Do you fly each night?
I have a sponsor, airline sponsor. I'm a human fax, so just fax me.
Now, what are these camps? Tell us about
these
your camps.
These camps are what?
Mm-hmm.
At LennyRandall.com, I go around the planet. I do Italy, Germany, Spain, Florida, Puerto Rico.
Now,
I haven't done Alameda yet.
For all these many years, Lenny, give me a city. If you couldn't live in Italy, first of all, it would break your heart, and it really would. You are a true Italian. But what American city would you choose to live in? And it doesn't have to be a city that you played in.
Well, I'd be a borderline between. See, I like the water, so San Diego and Seattle water have to be in a water port area. So I'd either be at a lake in Idaho, or a lake in Washington, or a lake or ocean in San Diego, or a lake and ocean in Arizona.
Okay.
And that's not happening in Arizona. So
you don't mention any big cities: Chicago, L.A., San Francisco, New York.
The little towns are better. You got to learn that, folks. The little towns are appreciative of life. The little towns
give you... You're talking to three Alamedans here.
Well,
Alameda, California.
Yeah.
You're absolutely
you
right.
Guys could, you got Alameda, Hayward, Eureka. I lived in Eureka for a little while. Been in Napa, Sonoma.
Yeah. Whoa.
Yeah, I did a camp with Napa College with Dusty Baker. It's the little towns that are more appreciative of life and sports and music and religion than anywhere else. The big cities are having a lot of turmoil, a lot of drama. You don't know if your car's going to be there when you finish the clinic.
But you know what scares me? The little towns. There was a town in Nebraska. I can't think of it. It's where Bob Gibson.
It's called North Platte, Nebraska. Been there. North Platte, Nebraska. Little bitty town.
Right.
Great football town.
Having some
love steak and potato.
Yeah. Hey guys, this has been terrific.
How do I get a hold of you?
How does anybody get a hold of you and your camps and what?
I'm simple. Just LennyRandall.com, and I'll give you the number on air. I don't care if you call me direct. Collect 909-225-0161. I'll do it again. 909-225-0161. Call me quick if you need me to pay your mortgage.
That sounds like
I called yesterday, Lenny. It didn't work.
Lenny, just refresh my memory. I saw a profile on you on TV where you were in Italy, but I don't remember what show it was on. Was it on 60 Minutes or some show like that?
Both. Yeah, 60 Minutes, CBS, and Major League Baseball Network, all three. And I'm doing a movie right now with them. We're doing another repeat movie in Anzio and Sicily, Sardinia, and Bronte. Bellali, simply Bella. 31 years, guys, have been over here.
Wow.
Listen, we should all go over and do a show. Chris, you can come too. You'll be a defector, but it's okay. All of us should do a show on the Mediterranean Sea. We'll bring the Oakland baseball and an elephant, and then we'll finally get him out. Ralph's got to get out of Alameda one day of the week. Just one day. I need 14 days to go. 14 days.
What about Charlie O the musical? I mean our mascot.
Yeah, we should have. We could import a mascot or we use one. There's a circus I work with over there. That's right in Anvil, like Latina. They have all the animals.
Yeah.
Yeah, not a problem.
Nancy, one thing.
Can I bring Tally because she's my keeper?
Yeah, bring a personal assistant. You can bring a masseuse, but once you get over there, you're going to drop everything because you're going to do as the Romans. You're going to change your life. You guys will be taking 12 to 5 o'clock siestas.
Oh man, we've got a long day of negotiations ahead, Lenny.
Oh, I want to do that.
5-course meals every day. 5-course freaking meals, fellas and girls and boys, every day. In the toes in the ocean, in the water. Little tickly by the dolphins. You'll feel the dolphins going in.
Oh God. Okay. I'm in.
What a life!
All the wine you can drink for $1.
What are you doing, Jerry? Are you in?
I'm in. Anytime.
Okay.
I'm already there in my mind. One of the advantages of being me, I can just imagine being there well before it happens.
Oh, Ralph, I love you.
I'm sending pictures, guys. As soon as I'm going to post them up in 5 minutes after the show.
Okay.
Opera in Italy. Sounds good.
Hey, Chris, thank you for being my guest on the A Show. You'll come back time and time again on Lenny's show on this network. It's called Lenny Randall's Hot Corner on the Comfortably Zoned Radio Network. He and I just talk sports and life on a regular basis, and it is so cool. You bring as I said in one of the intros on the show, you bring as guests the most interesting people on the planet. So, Chris, nice to have you. We're going to be following you. You better hit 320 with 30 home runs in the big leagues, as promised by the most interesting man in the world, Lenny Rondo.
Thank you so much for having me.
60 Minutes. Get us on 60 Minutes, Lenny.
I could do that. You guys want to get on 60 Minutes? Don't be shy. No makeup. You got to be natural.
I have my book. I have my book.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm sure they'll come visit in Alameda. So
my book has a picture of the orange ball on the cover.
Oh, there you go.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
We could do worse.
How many do you have left, Ralph? This is important because we can read it. Hey.
Yes.
Quite a bit. I have enough.
You have enough? So, Ralph, here's the deal. We'll eBay one ball. We'll eBay one ball and pay for all our trips over to Italy. How about that?
Oh, Lenny. I'm a little man sitting here in Alameda. You're going to transform the network, the show. We're going to be an international entity.
Internationale.
Oh, do I have your email?
I'm dreaming ahead.
Do I have your email?
Yes, simple@LennyRandall@gmail.com. That's it.
Okay.
Very plain.
Okay.
LennyRandall@gmail.com. Got it.
That's right. Real simple.
Great.
Even Forrest Gump got me.
And
email this man love and peace. He does more for this world. Sports are what's going to turn things around and bring us together. It transforms all that's good. And I'm so proud to have you with the network. So proud that things are working out with our sports from Oakland show that's going great guns. Nancy Finley, Jerry Feitelberg. Thank you all. We'll be back before you know it. How about that?
Thank you.
Keep on keeping on, everybody. And Lenny, I'm just going to push a button.
Yes,
you and your guests stick with me. Hold on.
Okay.
And here we go.
Chris?